Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. So we had our first frost this morning. We've got some tender plants in the greenhouse, so I want to try and keep them going as long as possible. We've still got some chilies that haven't matured. The aubergines are still there. They haven't fully matured yet. We're still getting them growing and they're still blossoming. So what I'm going to do is to try and keep the greenhouse a little bit warmer than it would otherwise be, just to stop it from freezing. I'm going to build a little hotbed in the greenhouse. So I'll show you what I'm going to be doing and how I'm going to be doing it. So just keep watching and you'll see what I'm up to. Building my hotbed is right next to my potting up bench. That way, when it comes time to pot plants up, we can just pull them straight over onto here. Now, this pallet seems a little bit high for us. We're only short people, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to rake back some of this top mulch that I've got here. So as you can see, this is all the mulch that I've been adding on, all the compost over the years. So I'm just going to pull it back and get down to at least the, some of the original soil. So because the sides where I want to put the hotbed are quite narrow and the full pallet doesn't quite fit, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut this pallet in half just for the sides. It doesn't have to be perfect. Rough measurements is fine. So that fits pretty snug. So we've got some rope, and I'm just going to take a bit of this rope and I'm going to fasten these sides on. This is just washing up cord. So if I put a slip knot in it, if I do ever want to take it down, I've got that option there. That's that in place. And now I'll just pull the front over. That's okay. Now what I'll do is I'll tie that front end in as well. And that'll be fine. We're good to go. So I've seen that a lot of people line these now with plastic, to preserve the wood. I haven't got the plastic to line the inside of this with. But what I do have is these 1 ton builder's bags. Now this is about 10 years old and I've been using it for storing my compost. So what I'm going to do with this is I'm just going to take one of these and pop it inside. And what these do have is these handles. So if I just hook them around the end like that, hopefully that'll hold on for a little bit while I get the other sides in place. So I'm just going to spread the sides out, make sure the sides sit properly. And that's a pre-formed liner for this now. Already in place. Perfect. It's like it was made for the job. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to start filling this. As always with me, the first thing that I'm going to start filling this up with is wood chip. So we've added a bottom layer of wood chips, and now what I'm going to do is I'm going to build it up just like a compost pile. The next thing that I'm going to add, so we've had the hedges cut and we've shredded a lot of the leaves up. So I'm going to add that next. So what I've got here, this is my pointed gourd vine. It's starting to die. We took it down today. And I'm going to just chuck that all in here. And let this break down in this bag. So if you look at that, that's nice. So I'm just going to keep building it up. And I'm going to add those privet clippings. So add all those privet clippings in there. That'll start to heat up very shortly. I'm going to add a layer of manure as well. I found a guy locally who'll supply me with bagged up manure. All I have to do is just go and pick it up whenever I need it. And so he'll just supply me with as much manure as I want. So it's quite perfect, stuff like this. I mean, traditionally hotbeds were built with just tons and tons of manure just stacked up. So I'm going to add on a good healthy dose onto here before I add more privet clippings and keep building it up. There was a place in the UK, I'm not sure if it's Kew Gardens, but they were growing pineapples using this hotbed method. So they were growing, just using a hotbed outside, they were growing pineapples outside in the UK using this hotbed method. So if it's done right, it can be quite effective. And the way they did it was they just stacked tons and tons of manure. So that's a good healthy dose of layer of manure on. I mean, the very top layer, I want at least a foot of soil. So all the soil that I've taken out from the bottom, I'm going to cap it off with all that soil and use that to grow in. So now I've got a good layer of manure on. I'm going to add more and more privet clippings. Because these privet clippings have been shredded up, they're going to heat up really quickly. That's one of the amazing things about hedge clippings. Because they're mixed with a lot of green and a lot of brown, they're mixed in the perfect quantity. So if you just shred them up and just leave them, stack them up and leave them, they're going to produce a serious amount of heat. So some of this manure is quite old and some of it's quite fresh. Now these are runner bean plants that have been taken out, and these are, yeah, some of them are, so I'm not doing anything much. I'm just fitting them in. And the reason that I'm adding them in like this is so it gives a nice sponge and a springy surface for any roots to penetrate in, and they're not going to get burnt by all that heat from the bottom. It'll just give them that little barrier, and this will break down and in turn generate more heat, and it'll continue to feed the process. But what I'm going to add is one more bag of manure on top of that. There we go. That's another layer of manure there. That's quite fresh. I didn't get round to cleaning the chicken house today, otherwise chicken bedding would have been brilliant for this. Now I'm not going to cap it off today. I'm not going to cap it off with the soil today. What I'm going to do is I'm going to leave it like that for at least a couple of days and let it heat up, because as soon as it heats up, the volume in here is going to drop quite drastically. I'm estimating that to drop by at least 6 inches to a foot. Revisit it in the morning, see how it's heated up. I envisage it to drop in volume by at least 6 inches to a foot. It's getting a bit dark, so I'm going to stop now, and we'll pick it up again tomorrow and over the next few days, see how it's heating up. So I'll leave it there for this one. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. 2 of this hotbed being prepared. Now I've got my new compost thermometer. My old one broke, so I've got a new one. So I'm going to just give it a little check, see what sort of temperatures that we're getting to. And I'll just give that a minute. But I haven't watered this, so I think this isn't going to be getting as warm as the temperatures that I wanted to. And because this temperature hasn't really moved, what I'm going to do is I'm going to add some chicken manure to this. Just hoping to get that to kick-start it. So I'll put my compost thermometer away. I'll put a link in the description of where you can get one of those from. What I'll do is I'm going to get some chicken manure and I'm going to top this off because I want to start getting this to heat up a little bit and keep this greenhouse warm over winter and allow me some space to grow in as well. So I've got a bucket that collects rainwater from the top of the chicken run, and it fills up with chicken poo as well. So I'm just going to give this a water with that. You can see how much chicken poo is collected over the time. Ugh. I've got another bucket like that. I'll go and get that one as well. Oh, that's a good helping chicken manure there. Well, at least it smells funky enough. it has started to go down. The pile has started to go down from when I started filling it up. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add some more material to it. So I'll add a good layer of grass clippings. These were cut a few days ago and they've already started to break down where they were stored. Now this is a mix of some of my runner bean plants and some hedge trimmings that I've diced up, that I've stuck through the shredder. So that now I'm going to add another couple of bags of manure. So I haven't had a chance to go and get any manure recently. So this is about a year old, nearly 2 years old, so a lot of the heat's gone out of it. But it'll do for what we're trying to do. So there we go. Lots of manure with lots of wood shavings. Now that will start heating up now. That will start producing some heat in here. Now it's had a good water and it's had a good mix of material in there. Some chicken manure to get it started. I'm not going to add the soil yet. I'm going to wait till tomorrow to add the soil, just so I can make sure and I can be 100% convinced that yes, it is heating up. So I'll leave it there until I get around to it tomorrow. So yesterday the temperature was around 10 degrees in here, even in the compost pile. Now we can see that the temperature is starting to go up. It's about 18 degrees now. So hopefully that'll keep warming up over the next couple of days. So I think that hotbed in itself is starting to be, is almost ready for it to be capped off now. So I'll start capping it off with some soil. But before I do that, I've cleaned my chicken house today. So I've got a load of chicken bedding. So I'll use that to add another layer before I cap it off with soil. So that's all bedding from my chicken house. It's got a lot of chicken manure in there. That'll all break down nicely in there, and it'll keep fueling this hotbed. It should, when the level of this should drop by at least another 6 inches or so. So I am expecting a nice drop. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to cap it off with soil. So all the soil that I took out from the bottom now is just going back on the top. So there's a nice mix of soil and compost there. What I'll do with this is I'll leave it for a couple of days, let the soil heat up. All I want it to do is I want the soil temperature to stay at a steady 15 degrees. If I can get that, then I can keep growing through here throughout winter without any issue. I'll give the greenhouse a clean so we can get as much light through here as possible, and I'll seal up all the cracks with just some bubble wrap. And that'll keep the greenhouse warm over winter. Yeah, so this is now a hotbed that will be ready for me to grow into in a couple of days, as soon as that soil temperature warms up. What I might do is I'll cap this off with some of the leaf mould that I've harvested. And if you haven't seen my recent leaf mould video, go and check that out. I'll show you how to make leaf mould in a way that will help heat your greenhouse, how to make leaf mould in the traditional black bag way, and some of my last leaf mould harvest from last year. If you like what you see, give the video a like, hit the subscribe button and leave me a comment and let me know what you think. I'm going to leave it there for this one. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.